Okay, this is one I've been dreading doing a video on. This is the HK Burst packs. This one's for an MP5. It's got 9mm ejector in it. This is also an MP5 one, but it says a 5.56 ejector in it, so we use it in a 5.56 sometimes. The packs are the same. You can even use them in a G3, the 308 version. They have the one less hole here, but they'll still fit and function fine. You just need a 308 ejector. I'm going to break this video up into several parts because it's not a fun one to do. First part you would do is obviously release the hammer. And then we'll go ahead and put the safety on safe. Alright, grab a small tool, a punch, little flathead screwdriver, depress this lever here. You see how it moves. When you push that down, you're able to move the selector past safe. Now, once you get it past safe, so it's just about straight down, a little bit past it, you can give it a little wiggle and take off the selector lever. Take the one off the other side. Now you can slide your pack out. So far it's pretty easy. Next step is the ejector. And always, if you can, I recommend using a small towel, preferably one your wife won't care if it gets oil on it, because they tend to get mad when you do that. But any little pieces like this are less prone to go rolling around, especially if you're on your kitchen table. We'll take our ejector out and our ejector spring. We'll set those aside. And the next part is the hammer spring. Now HK sells a special tool for this. It fits in this little recess, allows you to compress this spring to get this retaining pin out, or retainer. I don't have one. I've never really felt the need to get one. There's several different ways you can do it. You could take, this is off a mechanical pencil, it's just the barrel to it. You could use this, slide that in, pop the spring out. It is going to go flying if you're not careful, so watch out for that. But the better way to do it, take an old junk Craftsman screwdriver. You find these all over the place. I wouldn't do this to a snap-on, but Craftsman I don't give a crap about, so you can cut this up. Take a cut-off wheel, make an indent in it, and this will actually fit inside the springs in between. Doesn't hurt anything, and you can use it to push it over. Now you want to get it as close as you can to this edge, so that way you can have the most compression on the spring. Simply push back on it and give it a little shake, she'll come out. Now that spring's going to go flying if you let go of it, so make sure you point it down. And your hammer spring and hammer spring retainer are out. You can see it's smaller on one end, and that is obviously the end that fits inside. Now when you go to put this in without the right tool, it's a little bit of a pain, but like I said, you can compress. I'll show you, press that and drop it in there and get it lined up. But that's part of it. Next thing is the hammer itself. The axle rod, or hammer pin, whatever you want to call it. HK calls it an axle rod. Simply slide it right out, just like on a regular full auto pack. Where this gets a little different is there's an eccentric cam inside the hammer that actually fits inside of the shifter rod. So when you want to slide this out, it's not going to come out. When you get it high enough, you can get it free. That little eccentric cam is on the side, trapped in that hole, and there's no way to show it to you till we get it out. It's a little harder doing it, try to film it. And now we got it out. This is the eccentric cam. That little cam rides inside the shifter rod. Now when we got our hammer out, our compression rod fell out from where it was captured. And if you look in this one, this is why I grabbed a second one to show things. You can see right here where the compression rod goes through the shifter rod. When we took out the hammer, that fell out, and that's fine because it needs to come out. But this is our compression spring and our compression rod, which hooks onto the counting wheel. So we'll remove that, and then we'll remove the shifter rod. You can see where it's hooked in down here, so you just need to get it clear of that. And this is the shifter rod. That is the hole that eccentric cam rides in. So when you're trying to take this hammer out from the pack, it's captured from that shifter rod. That's why you have to get that high enough up out where you can get it out of it. And as far as for cleaning purposes, that's all you need to take this down to. There's nothing really else to take out of that. This shifter rod doesn't come off, not like on the regular full auto packs. Now, one of the funnest pieces on this. This is probably the hardest part. Where's that punch? This part down in here is called the counting wheel. And it is a pain to get out. You can see there's a cutout right here, and this rod, it's a, I can never remember what this part's called, selector, lever, something, needs to come past here, and it's very difficult to get it past here. And sometimes you can put a punch underneath the entire thing, get it to start coming up, but it takes a lot of cussing, a lot of swearing. Sometimes you just got to fight with it, and getting them back in is no picnic either. But you've got to get it up there and rotated. See, I grabbed a punch and pushed up from the bottom on it, kind of wedges it in here. And now I've gotten it just clear of that cutout, and I'm able to rotate it. Looks like I gotta come up just a hair higher. There, now that it rotated, you can lift it out. This is the counting wheel. These are the little teeth that it rides on when it's counting that 3-shot burst. Maybe I should do a video on how it actually works at some point. Trip lever, sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Just comes out like normal. Okay, the next thing we're going to take out is our auto sear. Just like on a full auto regular non-burst pack, just push out the axle pin, and it just drops right out. Now this is the same exact thing as what's on a full auto regular SEF pack, but you might notice this one has a wheel on it, where the one that I did on the other video did not. It's just the more modern version. It's got a roller. It causes less wear on the trip lever. So it's a different trip lever to work with a rollarized one, but it's part of the sear. So if you have a registered sear that most likely would not have a roller on it, because they didn't have registered ones back then as far as I know. If there are, they're very, very few and far between. You wouldn't have a rollarized trip lever either. They just function smoother, have less wear on them. It'd be nice if they'd let us register them. A lot more people would be happy. Now, when you take the trigger out on these, on the regular SEF packs, you literally push the pin out and everything falls out. This has a couple more pieces. The trigger return spring has 2 ends that are hooked instead of just one. The other one, if you remember, has just a straight end on it. It's hooked over here to reach this pin here, because there's a little latch that's spring loaded in here. And also when it comes out, it doesn't just fall out. There's actually a piece inside that it's got to clear, so it'll kind of have to come forward and out. And also, just like the other ones, there is a little spring-loaded plunger down inside there. So sometimes these are hard to push. They can feel smooth at first and then get real tight, and the reason for that is there's a lot of spring tension on them. So always make sure you release that first and keep your fingers out of the way. I was doing one of these the other day, and you can see a little bit of a scab right there. That spring whacked me right in the finger, and it does hurt a little bit. So release that spring, take some of the tension off, but you still have spring tension from that little spring-loaded plunger. So when you're pushing it through, see, now that one went nice and easy, but sometimes they get that spring tension inside there will actually take the hammer and have it caught, so it doesn't want to come out. And these are identical to the full auto ones. And you can see inside there is that little spring-loaded plunger. There's no need to take this apart to clean it. It doesn't get dirty in there really. Like I was saying, you gotta bring this forward, rotate it down, and that other spring is getting hung up, and then she'll come out. Because you see how it's not the same on the back as a regular SEF trigger. And this is the spring. You notice the other one had one hook. This has two. The longer one goes up to inside where it retains it, or where it keeps that pressure on the trigger, and the other one just goes back to there. So when you're installing that, make sure you orientate it the correct way. And this latch does go back a certain way. That little groove that you can see right there is for that trigger return spring, and it does not have it on both sides. And make sure you cover this so that you don't drop anything. It literally just comes right out. And that is the latch. Okay, now there's just two pieces left. This piece that I was pushing on to make the selector lever move to clear, you can see that little hook there that moves. That is what makes it, it engages the selector lever. It's what makes the, locks it and keeps it from turning far enough so you can take it off. This little hook down here is the, I want to say it's called a stop latch, and it's under a lot of spring tension. It's really hard to move. That is caught by this spring, and we'll go ahead and take those both out. You want to take the tension off of this one. And then, with that tension off, we can push this pin out. Just slides right out. There's still a little bit of tension on it, but not a lot. Just pull it and it'll come out from underneath that hook right there. Some nice looking pieces. Then this one, that spring has a lot of tension on it. So because of that, when you go to take this out, I would get in there with your thumb and push on it, because just like this pin, when you go to take it out, it can want to get cockeyed on you. And also, if you hadn't noticed, the punch that I'm using is a 3/32 punch, and the reason for that is because that is the smallest punch on this pack, so I can use it for everything. So I'm going to put it, the spring won't fly out on you, it just makes it difficult to remove the pin, so you don't really need to worry about it flying out. But there we go, push that all the way through, and out she comes. And that is a completely disassembled burst pack and a pile of parts that, if you do not know what you're doing, you will have no idea how to put all of that back together again, which we will cover in a separate video.